hurt me, you did, several times. It hurts to admit that we're no different. I find it hard to commit, but you don't even try. Still I'm better with than without you. Oh, I'm on it, I want it, but why do you seem to call in your eyes? I can't tell if you're here without it. Do you wanna be out there? You don't need to be Prince Charming to me.
The Open Studio. So good if they just say open. Open Studio. Yeah. Just say the word. Just say the Open Studio. The Open Studio. Now I know that I'm too old. My jokes have all gone cold. But it's Open Studio. Give me a sec, I'll show you anytime. What I'm working on, let's have some fun. Open Studio, gotta find someone. Open Studio. I've just gotta show you now. I've got to get funnier, but I don't know how. This bit makes me nervous, it makes me scared, but I feel so good if they just say open somewhere. Open Studio, because I care. Say the words, the Open Studio, the Open Studio.
What's up, everybody? Welcome to the Open Studio. I am your host, Justin Golak. I hope you guys are ready to have a good time. I'm filled up with Hamburger Helper, and I'm drinking chilled White Claw with fruit out of a Yeti cup. Going full Midwest garbage diet energy. And if you guys have a favorite, trash food, go ahead and sound off in the chat. I'm going to also be saying sound off in the chat a lot because when I say it, it makes me uncomfortable, which I think is funny. And also, I like the idea of making something my catchphrase that is also just a common phrase people say. So what do you guys think about sound off in the chat as a catchphrase? Sound off in the chat about it. I'd love to hear your thoughts. If you enjoyed that intro video, that is from Michael Gow. Very funny guy. You can find more of his music, original music, all kinds of stuff at Bubba Rap on SoundCloud. And if you like this old mothership dimension I'm hanging out in, or any of the other dimensions you see performers in later, these were all made by Jackie Manti, who's a talented artist in Chicago. And you can check out more of her illustrations over at macro.baby over on Instagram. So, yeah, man, this is the Open Studio. Open Studio is, just a collective of artists and fans of art. And we have a Discord server where we get into art stuff, show it off, talk about it, and then we do this show on Twitch. This is the first one. So thanks for coming out. I guess the two big things, if you like this show and you want to see more shows, if you're a show-focused viewer, then just subscribe to the Open Studio on Twitch, and you'll be notified whenever we go live, which probably be weekly, bi-weekly, something like that. Check for us on Thursdays. And if you want to be more involved in the community, especially if you're an artist, if you're interested in performing on the show or interested in collaborating or doing any sort of that stuff, go ahead and join the Discord. You can find links to that in the description below. You can also find links to all the artists featured on tonight's show down in that description, so you can check out their stuff. If you like their stuff, go support them. And last thing, if you want to support them directly, you can go ahead and tip the channel. Every tip we get during the show gets split up equally between all the performers. We're straight doing communism here. We don't care that Joe Biden and Donald Trump are running for president. We're doing communism right now. We're going to take all $12 we make and split it equally, and you can use that to get healthcare if you want. So we're doing communism. It's starting off really good. Let's crush it. And yeah, man, I think it's exciting. We're also this show is being uploaded to Neuralink. So there's one pig in South Africa that is getting this streamed directly into his brain. So there might be pig material that I do throughout just to just keep that audience entertained. You might not understand it, but now you do. So I do think it's funny to live in a world where people are actively worried that Bill Gates is going to secretly microchip them, because it's basically a bunch of people like, hey, are you worried about this billionaire secretly microchipping us? And it's like, yeah, not really, because there's other billionaires that are just trying to sell you microchips and you're excited about it. So I think they'll just I don't think they'll put it in the vaccine. I think they'll just include a Verizon plan for $49.99 and we'll all get microchipped, and it'll come with GPS and it'll probably be fine. It'll make Amazon ordering easier, and I don't think it's going to be that big of a deal. So take the vaccine, take the chip. It's all going to be fine. And when I say fine, it's not going to be fine, but sound off in the chat. How many, over under 2.5, how many more presidential elections do you think we'll have in this country? The under pays 2-1, and that is because currency will be worthless if you're right. But I think it's the good bet. I think we're looking at a good 1 to 1.5 presidential elections, but you're in the right country for the end of the world. Did you think the end of the world could be this hilarious? Sound off in the chat if you could think of a funnier end of the world. I think this one's pretty good. Shout out to the dinosaurs that just had to get hit by a meteor. I think we're having a more fun time. Guys, thank you so much for tuning in. I'll be chiming in and out throughout the show. I'm gonna be cutting to all your performers, but then also we'll have a little chit chat with them after their performance. A little get into how they make art, what they like about art, and maybe favorite cereals. We don't know. Sound off in the chat what you want to hear. Yeah. I think it's hilarious to say sound off in the chat, because I realize I'm a balding 35-year-old on Twitch, and most people come here to watch a non-binary sex worker play Super Mario Brothers 3, which is great. I do that too. So, what is your favorite thing to do on Twitch? Just sound off in the chat with that. And so I want to get into it. We got a great lineup. We got Lucia Whalen playing music. That's going to close out the show. We got stand-up by Dan Dotson, a really funny guy. We got a video coming up by Rob Steinberg, and we got some music by Vince. That's going to be your first act. But before we get into your first act, I just want to play a little video for you. Start things off on a light foot, just a little bit of farce. So let's throw that video up now, and then we'll get into our first guest.
Sometimes people chirp at birds, seeing if they'll chirp back. Sometimes the birds do. But the people don't know what they're chirping, and they don't know what the birds are chirping back. What if you're chirping the N-word? And what if the bird is chirping it right back? You and this bird are just blasting N-words back and forth, echoing it through the land. All the other birds would hear this and think human beings are super racist. The birds, assuming a better collective morality, would gang up to attack humans to try and save the planet from hate. Anyways, that's the synopsis for the prequel to Alfred Hitchcock's The Birds that I'm writing. Most people say that if they had a time machine, they would go back in time and kill Hitler. I don't think most people would, though. There are at least 5 active genocides taking place in the world right now. People could go murder the leaders of those genocides, but most people don't. I think most people are cowards and they just use society's lack of time travel technology to obfuscate that fact. I think some people would go back in time and kill Hitler. For ease, they would probably time travel back to when Hitler was a child and kill him then. We would then have a past without Hitler, but, unfortunately, a future with a man or woman who is comfortable murdering a child in cold blood. I understand, though. Stopping a genocide seems like the hardest thing to do. To do it, you have to want to stop a genocide more than someone wants to do a genocide. I don't think many people are that against genocide. Don't get me wrong, I think most people are against genocide, but ask yourself, are you willing to kill a whole race or ethnic group to stop a genocide? Because that's what people who want to do a genocide are willing to do one. If birds did start attacking people, and we found out they were specifically targeting racists, would you get involved to help the people? I think I would. I don't condone racism in any form, but I think I'm a species first human. I think I'd defend the worst human against the best bird. If a bird attacks a racist human, I'd help the human. If a human attacks a racist human, I would not help the racist human. If a human trained a bird to attack racists, I'd have to read more Nietzsche before I could pass well thought out moral judgment on it. In the end, I'm more okay with a human traveling back in time and killing Hitler as a child than I am with a bird traveling back in time and killing Hitler at any age. That's one thing I'm sure about.
You enjoyed that. Hope that was a fun time. I hope you don't have Knights in White Satin stuck in your head, but if you do, not the worst problem to have. But I think we should get some better. We should get some better music stuck in our head. We should go right to our first guest. One of the best musicians ever. I don't even think that is hyperbole at all. Literally, think of your favorite musician. This guy is better. Did you think of Led Zeppelin? Still better. So this guy, I'm gonna bring up everybody. I don't know. I haven't done, I'm so used to hosting a live thing, but you know what? Give it up in your house while you're watching. Give it up. Or you know what you could do? Sound off in the chat with some claps. Give it up for Vince doing some music for you guys.
I need a second to take a breath, to keep me guessing. But what is it? You're in my head. We're under pressure, forsaking me like stormy weather. Can't seem to breathe when you're with me. You're gonna break me. I know I won't.
All right, and thank you, Justin, for setting the bar so high and better than Led Zeppelin. You don't even. Anyway, thank you, Justin, for that lovely introduction. Thank you for having me on the show. Thank you for all of you who are watching the stream. My name is Vince from the band Lunchroom Rejects, and here's an original song. mind. Then you took it back, babe, and you told me now's not the time. Ran away to find true meaning, but you left it all behind. Should I wear it on my sleeve, babe? Should I bury it deeper there? I should have seen this coming when your thunder kept rolling in. Well, don't you come knocking out, 'cause I ain't gonna let you in. Rain's cleared up now. I can finally see the sun. Rain's drying up now. I can finally see the sun. I wish I could say my heart is every time, but my journey has just begun.
It's fine to be alone, just to find somewhere that finally feels like home. I hate all this overthinking. The more I swim, the more I'm thinking. Take me to.
Rob, that was so good. That was so much better than Led Zeppelin. Or Vince, sorry, I was looking at who was next and I totally messed that up. Vince,
Well, thanks.
that was so good. So much better than Led Zeppelin. I called it and I stand by it, and it was so good.
All right, I'll give that to you. That was quite a platform you put me on. I hope I delivered.
Well, I felt bad because I was like, this guy's the best, and I was like, well, that was just like a silly thing to say. Like, not that
I
it's
know.
not good, but that was so silly that I was like, well, now I just got to say the silliest thing just to make it full fun. I'll ask you this because I feel like the reason Led Zeppelin's top of my head is because me and my wife were talking over the last like 2 days about how we love Led Zeppelin, but how does the pretty substantiated claims of plagiarism affect your love or respect for Led Zeppelin? And as a musician, what do you
Ooh.
think? And did you like them before? Like, were you a big fan? Does that bother you? Like, what do you think?
So here's the thing. I'll be honest. I'm not the biggest fan of Led Zeppelin. Not to say that they're not a great band. It's just, I'm largely indifferent. There's songs I like. That's the best way I can describe it, is indifferent. However, like the plagiarism is legit. They've actually had to go to court for some things, and you can tell where they ripped certain things off. And they kind of like, what they did is they took blues songs that were like, because they were traditional blues songs and done by so many people, there wasn't really a copyright on it. So they sort of just took it over. And I don't know. And once again, I'm not a big Zepp fan. I'm just kind of indifferent towards them. So like that bothers me a little bit that they did that. But at the same time, like they still had their own sound and they have some good songs. So like, I don't know. I don't fault people for loving Led Zeppelin. I really don't.
Yeah, honestly, that's kind of where we both came down on, where it's just like they added enough and the kind of like non-acknowledging of previous artists was just kind of like, not saying it's good, but it was kind of like music industry norm at the time. So it's not like they created that standard, and they added enough to kind of create their own sound that it's not like they were just some cover band. Like they were still talented. Maybe you just don't give them as much credit in your mind as being like some just out of nowhere creative force because they were so influenced and even borrowed from stuff, but still a great band, or at least a good one, you know?
Yeah. I mean, that's really my take on the matter. I don't know.
I think that's the best take. I think this is prime for a good, straight, middle of the road take. So I think you're perfect.
True. Okay. Cool.
I was noticing again. I think you got really great hair, but also, like the pandemic has forced people to not really keep up with hair maintenance. Have you always had long hair? Or is this a quarantine qual?
Come on, man. This is way too long for just quarantine.
Well, I mean, maybe you had it shoulder length.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I've been
look normal, or are you kind
of definitely. It's been since way before quarantine since I've had a haircut. Let me put it that way.
I think it looks great, man. I think it looks.
Oh, well, thanks, man.
Yeah, man, I liked your. It was funny because I think before you started strumming, you were about to say like you haven't even like heard my music, and you're already saying I'm better than Led Zeppelin, and I was like, and I was just thinking, I was like, dude, I heard you tune up pre-show. All I needed was those 3 bars, and I was like, this guy rips, dude. This is all
right, fair enough. That's right, you did hear it pre-show. Okay.
But yeah, like, what is like, I mean, I don't know, maybe I'll ask this to everybody, just last question, because it's our first show, we're doing the streaming thing, but like, what do you, like, as a creative, like, what is the thing you want to do most once it's like safe to be in the outside world? Like, do you miss playing live shows? Is that...
Oh, absolutely, man. Yeah. I was hosting open mics like at least once a month and going almost every week and trying to play like, I mean, I wasn't playing a ton of shows with my bands, just like, you know, here and there. And it was like every week I was going somewhere to play or do something. And that's just been gone since the beginning of quarantine. And it does suck. And I do wish that I could have that back. And it's more than just going out and playing. It's just the fact that I saw the same group of people every time I went out and played. So it was like, especially at like the open mics and like the musicians I was seeing all the time, there was definitely a community. Whether we wanted to call it that or not, it was organic. We were just all there. And since the whole, you know, the start of this quarantine, I haven't really seen anybody.
Yeah.
And we have nowhere to go out. And, you know, it's just, you know, we missed, like, I mean, I missed, I don't want to speak for everybody, but I miss the camaraderie of being around people and being able to, like, play as well as hang out.
Yeah. No, I've talked to a lot of people as a stand-up comic, mostly talking to comics, and you miss performing, but you definitely miss the hang. You know, you miss going, just showing up to your spot. Like I go to this spot every Thursday and there's people, you know, and you have a couple drinks and hang out. So yeah, that's a bummer. So yeah, man, thanks for coming and doing the show. And hopefully like,
yeah, absolutely.
Like I talked about before, we got a Discord going for the open studio. We're trying to create something similar to that in the inside times, you know, a place where people can collaborate and hang out and not just, you know, like throwing up your stuff on YouTube and Instagram is great and fun. And it's a great way to pass the time and stay creative. But dude, I'm glad you said that. I totally missed the hang, and that is so valid. And I can't wait till we can do it again. But Vince, you were awesome, my dude.
Thank you, man.
Thank you so much for playing some music for us.
Absolutely, anytime.
You're the best, man. Thank you so much.
Well, I appreciate it, man. I'd love to come back. But everybody else, have a good show.
Hell yeah. And the name I was looking at to get my order straight while I called Vince the wrong name is Rob Steinberg, and he's coming up next. He's going to play a video for you guys. So let's go over to Rob's video. You watch that, and then we'll have a little chat with Rob.
Well, class, welcome to another lesson. Welcome, online people. Everyone, pull out your drawing utensil and a blank sheet. Whisper your regrets into them. I said whisper your regrets into them. Ask yourself, who has the greatest imagination there is? Children, of course. They have such wonderful imagination. And why do they have such powerful imagination? That's right, because they're idiots. Because they don't understand things, and they're forced to use their imagination to understand them. If you want to really expand your imagination, I suggest you find a way to get dumber and understand less. And that way, you are forced to use your imagination to everyday thoughts like, why do planes fly? One secret I use is to huff glue. Now I want you to get inspiration from thinking of the greatest artists around you. Are you feeling inspired? Of course not. You feel nothing but bitterness towards them, hatred. They're untalented phonies, simply winning at some popularity contest with no real talent, unlike yourself, the greatest artist there is. I want you to feel a bitterness, the hatred that you have towards these people. Now you have the greatest motivation there is, spite. Get back to your papers and feel them again. Feel the hate against the feeling of the wonderful art that you are going to create with your amazing fingers that they wish they had. Yeah, you know that they're saying things behind your back. I don't know it, but you know they are. Yes. Yeah, show them. Show them who's wrong. This time, stop looking out and start looking in. Roll your eyes backwards. Roll them so that way they face your insides. The thing right behind your eye, that's your brain. It is also where your subconscious lies. Now look past your subconscious. There you will find your dubconscious. Now look past that until you see something so deep that you're channeling the spirits. Channel these spirits into your hands and draw what you see and what they say. Visual medium is universal language. You went too deep. The spirits, they are showing too much. You will notice that they are warning you about some horrific, destructive happening in the future. You see something so horrific, it's going to doom us all. Suddenly, you want to prevent the upcoming disaster and save these people. These phonies you thought you were so much better than. Yo, you're no longer spiting against them. You are saving them with the only thing you have power of. That's the power of amazing art. Put your utensil to the canvas and start creating change in this world. Work better with motivation. Bring more empathy into the world. Make it a better one. Keep channeling the spirits and let them work with you. Now, let's see what we have. It's looking well. Is yours looking just as well? Hope so. Now, let's give it some final touches. A little side on that. A little personality here. We could all use a little personality, am I right? Alright, don't change it too much different from what I'm doing. You'll And yeah, your art is finished. Our art is finished. It's ready to be put on the wall of the doctor's waiting room, and now people have something to stare at while they wait for their name to be called, or maybe it can go in the nice hotel room. Anyways, that's it for today's lesson.
What's up? Back with Rob Steinberg here in the old Yeah, and the old guest dimension. Rob, dude, that was so funny. I've seen that video multiple times, and I still think it's hilarious. Yeah. So, what do you? You know what? Oh, when I watch your stuff, it always makes me think of like I heard this interview with Bo Burnham a few years ago, and he was talking about because he blew up on YouTube, and he talked about how like when he was doing YouTube stuff, it was like all independent creators just being weird, and maybe you could get a following, and it was kind of like this Wild West, and now it's just kind of a place for like Jimmy Fallon clips. So it's kind of just become an offshoot of network television, like it's just a place for them to dump their clips. Like, do you have like a favorite place to put kind of weird original content? Like, is it still just YouTube? There's just more stuff, or have you found like other avenues that you like for putting that stuff up?
Thanks. Yeah, I have no idea. I just do shit out and then see where it goes.
Yeah. Your stuff is so fun. Where did you film the painting thing at, the art class stuff?
It was at Can TV. It was actually showing on public access for a while.
Nice.
Yeah. I just happened to, mostly for the enjoyment of just knowing that very random people are just going to tune into it at any moment, and then they're just like, okay, I guess this is what's on TV.
I mean, did you ever, like, when things were more analog, did you ever have anything on, like, local TV like that? Like, the local, like, TV station? I remember I actually turned in 3 VHS tapes to be put on public access when I was, like, a freshman in college in Cleveland, Ohio. Did you ever?
Oh, yeah, my college, we had a connection with that public access station, so we used to like show stuff through there all the time. And then I got also friends like Cinema Obscura that like do that stuff all the time too, so I view it through them.
Yeah, man, it's so funny. I love your stuff so much. And yeah, I just want to say like that's part of a longer video. So again, like I said before, if you just go down below the video, there's links to everyone you saw. So like Vince has a Spotify, you can check out more of his music. You can see the full cut of that. And I went to your page like, I don't know, a couple weeks ago, and I watched like 3 of the videos. They're all so funny. Do you have like I don't know, like for someone that, I guess just like, because you're just like kind of performing to camera and you kind of have this like elaborate kind of story you're telling through these very like, just like weird templates, like, what is like your creative process? Is it like very written out, or is it like bullet points and then you kind of get in front of camera and improvise?
Definitely bullet points that get fleshed out. Like, I don't know, I look at a lot of obscure media that I really like, and then, or just really awful, I don't know if awful, just ways you view stuff that is just kind of like unconventional. Then I don't know, I just end up doing like way too much research and stuff and then just erasing pretty much almost all of it. Like that video was originally supposed to be, I was trying to make like an entire online university, and all of those were like multiple classes, as well as like maybe if that was going to like give it other people, and then who knows, maybe even if I could convince people to pay for the classes, just see where that goes.
Yeah. I mean, to me, it's like, I mean, I could see it being a real thing just in terms of like, I have never painted in my life, and I've watched like tens, if not hundreds of Bob Ross painting videos just because it's a fun watch. I feel like you could, with your painting art school, you could easily have something that doesn't really have real instructional value, but is still just such a fun watch. People would be intrigued in taking your classes. So I think it's a possibility, man. Well, like I said, dude, Rob, thanks for showing your video. That was super funny. If you want to see the full thing, if you want to see more videos, and I suggest you do, go down to the links below the video and check out Rob's stuff, check out everyone's stuff. Rob, thanks so much, buddy.
Of course.
And then next we got our first stand-up comic coming up. Be our first guest in the overspoken word dimension. So Dan Dosimo, very funny dude. Definitely, if Led Zeppelin tried to do stand-up, he'd be funnier than them, which is less of a compliment than was to Vince, but still a compliment nonetheless. So let's kick it over to Dan Dosimo, and let's listen to some stand-up comedy.
All right. I'm having kind of a weird week. My girlfriend keeps yelling out my brother's name during sex. And it's really annoying, you know, because I'm in the other room trying to sleep. I wish they would keep it down, man. Honestly, I hope she's cheating on me. She deserves it. She's great, you know? She's in like amazing shape. Meanwhile, I look like I have sauce on my shirt even when I don't. We're pretty adventurous too. Like this week we tried anal for the first time. And I was way better at it than she was. But I think that's just because my guy had a smaller cock. I think the real miracle of Christmas is like, how did Joseph even meet Mary? You know, he's from Judea. She's from Guadalupe. That's a hike by anybody's standards, man. I think pornography gets a bad rap. I do. I think people don't give it enough credit for being educational. Because, like, if it wasn't for porn, I would have had no idea what to do the very first time that my stepmom got stuck in a window. I think the border situation is really sad. You know, you have all these people that are just incredibly poor and they have no education and a really limited worldview and they just want a better life. So they start working for ICE. My favorite subject in college was philosophy. And I wasn't that into philosophy. I just really liked watching 19-year-olds disagree with the greatest thinkers who have ever lived. That was a lot of fun. Like, all right, Plato versus Stephanie. Let's fucking go. Get him, Steph. I have a lot of friends who believe that God has a specific individual purpose for all of us. And I think that if they hung out with me more, they would know that that's not true. I don't think an all-powerful God was up there 24 years ago going, who is going to smoke all this pot? There's way too much Dr. Pepper. There's not enough grown men in sweatpants alone at the zoo. It is time to make a stand. I've been watching a lot of Top Chef, and it's Top Chef Masters. So they're all already master chefs, and they're competing for charity, and they're really nice to each other. And I think that last part is wrong, because I think that charity-themed trash talk would be some fucking awesome trash talk, you know? Just like, what's up? I'm Chef Mark. My charity of choice is the Leukemia and Lymphoma Society. And let's just say that with me in this competition, it's a bad week to have muscular dystrophy. My granddad told me one time, you know, I went to school with the guy who killed JFK. And I was like, that must have been weird. You went to school with the military-industrial complex? Okay. Turns out he was talking about Lee Harvey Oswald because he doesn't know what the fuck happened. But it's funny. He has like childhood stories of Lee Harvey Oswald, like hitting the teacher with spitballs from impossible distances and shit. Through trees, getting set up. All the other kids are like, what kind of straw is that? I don't even know if it can fire that fast. And the teacher's like, shut up, do your homework. All right, I'm out of my mind. You can all be my 64th follower on Twitter. Thank you so much for having me. I'm Dan Demo.
Dripping lights,
Dude, Dan, that was so fucking good. Everybody, what is your favorite relationship, familial relationship to jerk off to or Jill off to? Sound off in the chat. You know, when you like a brother, sister, stepmom, stepkid, maybe you like mom, dad, adopted daughter. There's a lot out there. They're always in the trending section, so don't act like you're not doing it. We're all doing it. So, Dan, man, I was thinking about it. I think you're the last person I met in the before times, like the last new person I met.
Oh yeah?
Because when did we meet? Like a January-ish, December, January kind of time-ish?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, I don't think I met any like really new people, like connected, like became friends with new people before March, and then now I've known no new people. So you're like, you might be my last, depending on how this disease goes.
Wow. It's an honor, you know?
Yeah, dude. When I think of the before times, I think of you because you're the current. You have the least seniority, but you're the most recent. So, you know, it kind of cuts both ways.
Yeah, I'll take it, you know?
Oh, yeah. Dude, I think your stuff is so funny. And so you started off in South Bend doing comedy?
Well, I did my first like 2 sets in Pittsburgh in high school.
Okay.
And then I started like actually doing it in South Bend.
Okay. And then now you live in Chicago and like, so wait, are you from Pittsburgh originally? Is that like where you're from?
Yeah.
Okay, cool. Yeah, man, like what, that's like, you know, I asked Vance, I'll ask you since we kind of do the same thing. Like, what are you most pumped to do in the after times? Just do shows again? Because I know you said you popped out to a couple mics, but that's still not like the same, you know?
Right. Yeah, and it's all been on like Zoom, which is very, it's kind of a strange place to do stand-up. I think like, I'm just really looking forward to being able to see people again. Like, that is gonna be very like psychologically comforting as opposed to just like sitting in my room and telling jokes and wondering how they're going, you know?
Yeah. Do you live with your girlfriend right now?
So we have 2 separate apartments, but we're pretty much quarantining together because why not?
Yeah, dude, I quarantined with a significant other, and I just think about when I first moved to Chicago, I was like solo in like a 1-bedroom apartment in Lakeview, or not even like a studio. Like I slept on an air mattress in a studio apartment by myself. And I was like, if this was my quarantine sitch, I would for sure, I don't think I could make it. But now at least I get to like just riff on the world with a homie, and you know, that's so, dude, if you're single, sound off in the chat. You're probably not doing okay. Let's try to link people up. If we get a few sad people, let's get you insta tested at the Walgreens and get you guys together. Just even if it's just a quarantine love affair, like we got to get people together because this is a mental disease too. This isolation is for real. Dude, Dan, you're so funny. Thanks for coming and doing the show, man. I love your stuff. Please check Dan out when the world is normal again. Yeah, we got our last act coming up next. We got Lucia Whalen playing music, and is it going to be better than Led Zeppelin? I don't know. I won't spoil this one for you. You figure it out. Spoiler alert, it will be. So let's go to Lucia Whalen now. We'll talk to her, and then we'll close out the open studio for the week. Thank you guys for tuning in.
Hi, everyone. I'm like Led Zeppelin if he's so sad. This has been really fun. I didn't know what Twitch was, so I feel like a lady gamer now, which is pretty cool. I'm going to play for you a Tim Hardin, a classic Tim Hardin from 1966. This is Reason to Believe. listened long enough to you, I'd find a way to believe that it's all true. Knowing that you lied straight-faced while I cried, still I look to find a reason to believe. Someone like you makes it hard to live without somebody else. Someone like you makes it easy to give, never thinking about myself. If I gave you time to change my mind, I'd find a way to leave the past behind. Knowing that you lied straight-faced while I cried, still I look to find a reason to believe. Someone like you makes it hard to live without somebody else. Someone like you makes it easy to give, never thinking about myself. If I listened long enough to you, I'd find a way to believe that it's all true. Knowing that you lied straight-faced while I cried, still I look to find a reason to believe. Still I look to find a reason to believe. Still I look to find a reason to believe.
Hey, Lucia Whalen, so good. All right, same question to you as Vince. Is this long hair tradish or is this quarantine coif? What are you doing?
This is quarantine, I guess. I don't know. It hasn't grown at all.
Okay, yeah, I feel that. I know what that's like, but praise to the aesthetic, tapestry in the back, beautiful song. My mom sounded off in the chat. She said you had a beautiful voice. Sounded off in the chat.
Thank
Thanks,
you, Mrs.
Mom.
Golak.
Huh?
Mrs. Golak?
Yeah, you should get. She's divorced now. I don't know how much. I don't know about how much she wants me to talk about her marital history. We'll do a full hour on. Yeah, we'll do a full hour on that next Thursday. But yeah, Mrs. Golak, she'll take it, or Mrs. She's single now. If anyone's single wants to get together with my mom, she might be lonely too. We're hooking up people. Sound off in the chat. Lucia, what do you miss from the before times? What are you excited for the after times? You miss the hang?
I miss the hang, and I miss, I don't feel motivated to create unless I have the pressure to perform. So, I haven't played any music all of quarantine. I haven't written any music. I've barely written any jokes. And the only time I wrote jokes was right before, I did the virtual Coles open mic, because then it sparked something. So I miss everyone and I miss the hang, but I also miss, the motivation to be creative, because I'm not just someone who's, squirreling away jokes. I'm so excited. It's
dude, it is so, you're so right. It's so bizarre because I have a little note that I just keep joke ideas in on my phone, and I started a separate one just for quarantine stuff because I was I don't know, something I wanted to live in its own thing, but without the pressure to turn them into full jokes, it's more than usual, just the ravings of a madman, and it's I've also thought well, dude, everyone's going to be coming out of this doing Corona jokes, so that's going to be played out. no corona stuff. Like, and so it's just like I'm in the middle of like a pandemic, and I'm just jotting down notes about like
my life.
yeah, or just whatever, just like, yeah, like, I don't know, whatever. So I don't know.
That's what I miss.
Yeah. Do you miss the pressure to create? Would you say it that way? Because that is a great way to say it, I think.
It's very stressful, but I do miss it because it's exciting. It's like if I know I'm booked for something, then I suddenly get a little manic, and then it's like the spirit comes over me, but otherwise I can't. I don't know. I need to know. I don't create just for myself. I'm not that enlightened.
I mean, and it's a thing, like, you kind of have to, but it's like you said, it's not really like a realistic thing. It's like a goal, but it's like, it's not something you can really obtain truthfully. So it's like, yeah, I don't think I've been trying to settle into like the creative process as like a spiritual journey.
Yeah.
That's how I've been trying to
Have
get
you ever
it.
done the Artist's Way?
No.
That's awesome. I started doing that in quarantine, and I was like, okay, this is, because it's all about how the creative process is like spiritual, and we should be creating just for ourselves. And I was like, okay, this makes sense, but I stopped on like week 2.
Yeah, I've never read it, but I've had so many people recommend it to me. I feel like I've read it. Like I get it. And I guess I was just describing it to my friend the other day, and I was just saying, like, I just feel like when the monks shave their head and go to the temple on the hill and pray 23 hours a day, like a month in, they don't get mad that their friend got SNL. You know what I mean? So I think if you're going to be really spiritual about the journey, you got to be it. Or if you want to have that traditional success, you should go for that. But the middle road, unlike Buddhism, ironically, the middle path is where I think all the pain lies. When you don't put in enough ass kissing to succeed to that level, or when you don't, cater to yourself enough to be truly fulfilled.
Or you're not just already rich enough.
Right. That also helps. It's weird how rich people stay rich, even in the creative fields. But it's weird how, like, someone's like, you're like, man, that guy came out of nowhere. And then like a month later, you're like, oh, that's Dustin Hoffman's nephew. And then you're like, well, that makes a lot more sense now. But yeah, that's what I've been thinking. I think it's like, I've just been saying to myself, like, if you don't want to be a Joel Osteen, you got to be a monk. And there's no like in between paths. So, dude, I wish you all the pressure in the future. Because
I wish you all the pressure, brother.
Hell yeah, we're in this together. Keep pumping out stuff. Like, I think music's something you can at least like create and put out there without a live audience. So you do, like my mom said, I'm my mother's son. You do have a great voice. I agree with her.
Oh.
Your music is amazing. So please keep pumping it out, man. It's really soul healing in these soul crushing times. So I wish that on you before we get to those after times.
Oh, thank you so much. This is the external validation I needed.
Hell yeah. So Lucia Whalen, that was our final guest for tonight. And what a note to leave on. Thank you guys all for tuning in. So yeah, this was great. This was our first show. I guess just like I said at the top of the show, if you want more of these, just subscribe to the Twitch. That's the easiest way. Become a subscriber to the channel, The Open Studio. There's a button right there. If you want to be on the show, or you want to just be more involved in the Open Studio, collaborate, get as much of the hang as you can in these crazy times. You can subscribe to the Discord. That's join the Discord. There's a link for that. There's a link for everything down below. So go down there. You can find all the performers, links to all their stuff. So if you like a particular thing, you can find more of that. And of course, if you've been watching this show and you're like, man, this thing looks pretty dope. Usually it's just 3 people on edibles in a Zoom meeting, and that's the show. This is not that. That is all thanks to Michael J. Garrity and Stephanie Duffy. So you can also, they've been directing and assistant directing and co-directing. I don't want to hurt their feelings, so I'm going to use all those terms. We're destroying hierarchy. Remember, we're splitting the tips. We're taking down hierarchy. We're doing communism at the Open Studio. But honestly, they are both also great artists in their own right. And there's links to their stuff also in the all the links with all the performers below. So Michael J. Garrity and Stephanie Duffy, thank you guys for running this show. And that is the show. I think just to keep things fun, keep things light, keep things cool, we are going to turn this channel over to some Jackbox games for maybe, I don't know, any amount of time between 15 minutes and 8 hours. We're playing Jackbox on this channel. And if you want to chat during those Jackbox games and hang out, you can go over to the Discord and go over to, I believe it's the audience voice chat channel, and we'll be hanging out there. But otherwise, that's the show. Come back soon. We're going to try to do this, I think, bi-weekly to start. So 2 weeks from now on a Thursday at 9 Central Time, you can find us, new acts, and we'll try to bring back some of your favorites. Sound off in the chat who your favorites were. So that is our show. Keep coming back. Subscribe to the channel for notifications on when we're coming back. All right. Thank you guys very much. Have a good night. Bye.
We're clear. Zoom is still. Hang on. We're clear. That's an official clear. All right, great show, everybody. Oh my God, thank you so much. Woo! Oh my God, you guys were so good. You were all so good. I'll ask you all to.
Bring me back to life.